It's August 2026. Suvendu Adhikari has been Chief Minister of West Bengal for over 100 days. The first BJP Chief Minister in the state's history, sworn in at Brigade Parade Ground with Prime Minister Modi in attendance. After BJP won a landslide majority in the assembly, right around 207 seats out of 294. Sources vary by a seat or two, ending TMC's 15 years in power. Adhikari beat Mamata Banerjee herself in Bhawanipur and held on to his own seat in Nandigram. We already know how the election ended, so this isn't a who will win video. This is a report card going back to what all three parties actually promised before the vote and checking that against what's happened on the ground and the 100+ deaths ever since. Some promises have moved faster than expected, others are nowhere close. I'll show you both. I'm going to walk you through all three manifestos line by line where it matters and then tell you exactly what's been delivered so far and what hasn't. Everything I tell you tonight is sourced. Where I'm less than fully certain, I'll say so on screen rather than pretend otherwise. Going into the election, TMC had ruled Bengal for close to 15 years. CPIM hadn't won a single seat in 2021, a party that governed Bengal for 34 straight years, from 1977 to 2011, reduced to zero in the assembly. BJP had spent a decade building itself into the principal opposition, and the Election Commission's Special Intensive Revision, the SIR exercise, became a flashpoint, with lakhs of names dropped from voter rolls and every party accusing the process of favoring someone else. That was the contest all three manifestos were written for. Let's see what each of them actually promised, then what's actually happened since. What TMC promised. TMC released its manifesto first on 20th of March. 10 pledges branded 10 Protigya. The entire document was built around one strategy: expand what's already working, don't reinvent it. The headline promise was a hike to Lakshmir Bhandar, rupees 1500 a month for general category women, rupees 1700 for SC/ST women. For youth, Banglar Yuba-Sathi, rupees 1500 a month for unemployed people aged 21 to 40, paid until they found work. Not a jobs target, a holding payment. Beyond that, a 30,000 crore agricultural budget, pakka housing and piped water for every household, doorstep healthcare under Duare Chikitsa, and a pitch to make Bengal a 40 lakh crore economy within 5 years. Almost nothing in this manifesto required TMC to build new administrative capacity. It was scaling up schemes it already ran. That made it arguably the most realistic manifesto of the three on paper. It also never mentioned the state's debt load. Voters rejected it anyway. What CPIM promised? CPIM launched a website called Bangla Bachao, asking ordinary people what should go into its manifesto before it wrote a word. The final document, Alternatives to Save Bengal, was unveiled on 4th of April by Left Front Chairman Biman Bosh and CPIM State Secretary Mohammad Salim. The central slogan, No Mandir Masjid, Bengal needs employment. The jobs number backing that slogan was the boldest in the race: 4 million permanent jobs over 5 years, 2.5 million industrial and logistics, 2 million rural, 1.5 million tech driven. The Netaji Subhash Yuva Sevak project, 1 job per jobless family plus a 2000 rupees monthly allowance while youth waited, 100-day work guarantee for the urban poor, 200 days for the rural poor. On agriculture, MSP for 16 crops on the Swaminathan Commission formula, a minimum daily wage of 700 rupees. On welfare, free electricity up to 100 units, a women's safety force called Abhaya Vahini, a push to form 20 million self-help groups. And here's the number none of the other parties put on paper. CPIM's claimed TMC era debt had hit 7.14 lakh crore against a cumulative debt of 1.92 lakh crore left behind by the left front in 2011. It's the only one of the three manifestos to name the debt problem in hard numbers. It still wasn't enough to move CPIM beyond a handful of seats. What BJP promised and what's happened since. BJP's manifesto, the Sankalp Patra, released by Union Home Minister Amit Shah on 10th April, was the biggest, boldest document of the three. It's also the only one now tested against an actual 100 days in the office. The promise: uniform civil code within 6 months, 7th pay commission within 45 days, 3,000 a month to every woman, 3,000 a month plus a 15,000 grant for unemployed graduates. 1 crore jobs, 33% reservation for women in government jobs. Here's the receipt on each as best as I can verify it right now. Pay commission. The cabinet reportedly gave in principle approval within about a week of forming the government, faster than the 45-day promise. Full implementation, including the actual pay fitment, is tied to the centre's own 8 pay commission report, which is a separate longer timeline. The 3,000 rupees women's transfer. This is the scheme now known as the Annapurna Bhandar, which replaced Lakshmir Bhandar outright. It's reported as live and paying out, with beneficiary numbers climbing through the summer toward a stated 2 crore target. UCC, reportedly moving via a judge-led drafting committee with a bill set to be headed for the Assembly's August session. Jobs. This is the promise with the clearest, most checkable gap. In the campaign figure was 1 crore jobs over 5 years. Reporting around the government's 100-day mark cited investment proposals in the tens of thousands of crores and stated target in the range of 1 lakh government jobs so far. Whatever the precise figure, 100 days into the 5-year 1 crore promise is always going to look thin. That part doesn't need a single source to be true. It's just arithmetic. 3 different elections. Which manifesto was more realistic? 3 different theories of the election. TMC ran to defend its record, CPIM ran to prove it still mattered, BJP ran to win outright and did eventually. On administrative reach, TMC needed the least new capacity. CPM's promise were mostly within a state government's own power. BJP's UCC was the legal outlier, and if the reporting on its committee and timeline holds up, the one moving fastest anyway, likely because of political will and central government precedent behind it. On the size of the ask, CPM's 4 million jobs target was still the largest, most specific number in the race. On fiscal honesty, CPM was the only party to put a hard figure on the debt, though remember that figure is their own claim, not an audited one. There is no single honest manifesto. So, more doable always split 3 ways. TMC on administrative reach, CPMs on fiscal specificity, BJP on political capital. None of the 3 wins on every axis. And if a manifesto comparison tells you one party was simply the honest one, it skipped the trade-offs. The 100-day scorecard. BJP won the 2026 West Bengal Assembly election in a landslide, the first right-wing government in the state's history, on a record 93% turnout. CPM and Congress returned to the Assembly after 0 seats in 2021. A real recovery, but nowhere close to power. TMC lost after 15 years. CPM's own reading of the result in the days afterward was that the vote was less an endorsement of BJP's specific promises and more a rejection of TMC's 15 years in power. 100 days in, that reading looks at least partially right. The promises BJP has moved fastest on are cash transfers, a pay commission nod, and these are the ones that build on existing political goodwill. The one that requires new economic capacity, that is jobs, is the one furthest behind. And that's true regardless of exactly which single outlet figure you use for it. So here's the honest read. 4 months in, TMC's manifesto was the safest bet on paper and still lost. CPM's was the most fiscally specific and still stayed marginal. BJP's was the biggest bet, and 100 days in, the fast cash and committee promises are reportedly on schedule or ahead of it, while the slow structural ones like the jobs is running well behind the number that got it elected. That's not a verdict on the whole government. 100 days is early for a jobs pipeline to show results, but it is exactly the gap worth watching. If you want the next check-in, once the 8 pay commission report lands and the jobs numbers have had more time to move, let me know in the comments and hit subscribe so you don't miss it. Thanks for watching.